And we're live. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Closer Show.
This shit right here is staying right here all year. But
this shouldn't be stressful at all. I want that 2,500 just because he wouldn't give it to me.
G's private stock lead, motherfuckers. Let's go.
Did it just play twice for you guys? Because it played twice. What is going on? Oh, I'm hearing it in the background. That's what's going on. I had the stream open. So I'm just sounding crazy to you guys. Guys, welcome into the Closer Show. My name is Benson. I'm the host for tonight. And you guys are in for a real treat. First, for all you new viewers, I want to tell you guys what the Closer Show is. The Closer Show is where we call leads from ispeedtolead.com. We lock them up live, and we show you guys how to do the contracts. But today we're doing something a little bit different. Right? We've been calling so many leads, getting so many contracts, but we realized we hadn't been doing enough actual on-the-ball training. There hasn't been enough actual on-the-ball training, right? So we realized, oh man, we're dropping the ball with these guys. So what we got to do is we got to sit down and we got to break it down to them step by step how we're crushing these contracts, how each of the guests that we bring on are crushing these contracts. And by the way, if you guys look at our past videos, you'll see that we've had all the celebrities on our show. We've had the very top people in real estate come on, lock stuff up live. Also, if you guys want free training every single week, we have a Discord group. It's down below, right? Discord.gg/closer. Join that. So anyways, that's all the plugging. But today what we're going to be doing is breaking down how you are going to become the greatest closer of all time through your opens. How many of you guys know Jordan Belfort, right? Guys in the chat right now. You guys who are here, I can see you guys. How many of you guys know who Jordan Belfort is? Just let me know in the chat, right? I'll wait for a few seconds here. I'll crack open my drink. While I'm waiting for you guys to tell me if you know who Jordan Belfort is. And I know there's a bit of a delay, so no worries. The GOAT, Dalton knows who Jordan Belfort is, right? The GOAT, the greatest of all time. The man was in The Wolf of Wall Street. He committed massive fraud, but he committed the massive fraud by being a fantastic salesman, right? Wrong morals, good skills. And so what he says, because he's a fantastic sales trainer too, guys, is what he says is that your first impression will make or break your sale. You need to be three things to your prospect. You need to be I just flipped you guys off. You guys need to be likable. You guys need to be trustable, and your product needs to be fantastic, right? They need to know you, like you, trust you. Fantastic product. That's like 4 things. Okay, 4 things. Whatever, right? And if you don't purvey that in your open right away, guess what? Guess what, man? These people are not going to trust you. And so what we're going to break down today is what we call the ultimate closer's open. The very best way for you guys to open your call. Tips and tricks that the top closers in the space use to get themselves to be in the pocket of the seller before the sale even starts, right? Because here's the thing, right? Everybody thinks that the close is going to be the most important part of the call. How many calls are you actually getting to the close? How many calls are you having in open? Think about that for a moment. How many calls are you actually getting to a close versus how many are you having in open? Every single call that you have is going to have an open. Every single one. And here's the thing, though, right? This doesn't just apply to sales. This applies to talking to women or men, if you're a woman. This applies to talking to your friends. This applies to applying for a job. This applies to anything where you have to sell yourself, your services, your products, any of it. All of it. It is 100% dependent on whether or not you are capable of having a good open. That's it. That is it. Here's the thing, man. Nobody likes a boring person. Nobody. Have you ever sat there listening to, you guys have seen Ferris Bueller, right? The guy who's just there calling roll call for the class. Bueller. Nobody likes that guy. He's made there to be boring. That's what a lot of your guys' opens are like. And trust me, we've listened to plenty of them. In our support channel, we get calls submitted to us every single day, and we listen to all of them. Also, in our training group, we have free training in there where we do call breakdowns. We've listened to a lot of opens in there. And the number one thing that we've seen is that people struggle with their opens, and it sets the tone for their entire call. Because in the open, here's the things you can do. A, you can build relatability. Prove that you're likable. B, you're going to prove that you're competent, you're sharp, you know how to get the job done. 3, you're going to prove that you're not a boring person to talk to. You're fun to talk to. You can have some dynamics. You know how to hold a conversation. You know how to keep somebody engaged, drag them into what you're saying, and keep them there, right? Having a fantastic open supercharges the rest of your call. I mean, seriously, right? All the other parts, those are the other parts of the engine, right? You got your exhaust manifold, you've got the flywheels, whatever, right? I don't know enough about engines to really tell you guys that. I'm sure you guys know more than I do. But what I do know is that turbos and superchargers are awesome. You guys ever hear the whine of a supercharger or the whistle of a turbo? Or when you're in the car and that happens? Oh my God. I was in Phoenix a couple weeks ago, and I was with my fantastic friend Sonia Ray. She's amazing. One of the greatest closers in the space, right? She's closing enough deals that she's got herself a fantastic Hellcat SRT. Man, taking off from a stoplight in that thing, the supercharger, that right there is what your open is. It's a supercharger. It just, you tack it on, you're going to get more horsepower, you're going to go faster, you're going to get more tire spin, you're going to get more ladies. I'm promising that, guys. So, we're talking about opens today. So now let's get into it, right? What is the open? What is your purpose, right? What's the intention that you're going to have? So the intention for each of these opens is to intro your way to the call, right? Think of it like a reverse funnel. When you're opening the call up, you're crawling your way in through a pinhole, right? You don't have a lot of space to maneuver in there. So what you're trying to do is just, yam your hand through the wall, grab it on the other side and start ripping out chunks, bit by bit, until you can put your foot through, and then your shoulders through, and squeeze your way in, right? That's what you want to do. It's a reverse funnel. Working from the very bottom, ripping it open. That's the goal. You want to segue into the rest of the call. And so in order to do that, right, you've got to do a couple of things. First, you've got to introduce who you are. You've got to build the trust. Second, you've got to introduce why you're actually on the phone with them, right? Again, that's trust, relatability. It gives you a reason to be there, right? And third, you got to be likable while doing it. You can't just do it. A lot of people get stuck doing phone voice, right? And phone voice is what I describe as a one-note song. That's where the entire thing, you just sound like, imagine listening to Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, but it was just Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, how I wonder what, right? Nobody wants to listen to that. So we've got to add some inflection, some pitch, some tonality changes. It's fantastic. So let me bring up my PDF really quick, because I wrote down some amazing notes for you guys to follow. And I just got to get them pulled up so that I can share them with you and not get lost. Because here's the thing, guys. I tend to go on tangents. I have to write this stuff down, or else I go on tangents. All right. So first, let's talk about tonality and pitch, right? And I know you guys have heard me preach about this before, but I'm going to preach about it again, right? The tonality and pitch are so important. When we're thinking about it, tonality, that's how you say stuff. The pitch, that's the level at which you say stuff, right? High, low. And then when you get really good, then we're going to bring cadence into it, and that's the speed at which you say stuff. So those things are all going to come together. And in the open, it is the most important that you sound so enthusiastic, like you were the most excited person in the world to be on the phone with this person, right? Because if you're excited to talk to them, you're immediately interesting. Because you want to know what? Most people, they go about their lives and nobody's excited to talk to them. Nobody's interested in what they have to say, what they're doing, how their existence is going. Not their own family, not their spouse, not their kids, not their dog. Nobody cares about people. That's the truth. So if you pick up the phone with somebody and you sound like the most excited person in the world, guess what? Guess what? They are going to love you. They're going to love you right off the bat. So let's talk about how we can get your tonality to where it needs to be excited, high, like a fast cadence, sharp to the point, right? So it's like, hi, hey man, this is John. Like, hey John, what's up? You see, huge difference right there. And you'll notice, first off, my facial expression, right? This here is where I was before. I'm sad, my head's tilting. I can't even hold my head up because I'm such a sad person, right? And you guys look at my eyes, right? My eyes, they're sullen, right? Look at this. My lips, they're drooping. My body language, right? My hunching my shoulders. Hey man, what's up? How you doing? Versus this here, right? I'm gonna smile. I'm gonna have some very bright eyes, right? I'm holding my head up. I'm puffing my chest out. John, what's up, man? Right? You see that? Huge difference. Huge difference, right? And so a lot of people, they have trouble getting to that spot. And here's the thing. A lot of people are sitting while they're making their phone calls. They're sat in their ass. That's what I'm trying to say, right? And the thing is it's hard to come from a position of power and excitement while you're sitting down. I can because I've had a lot of practice at it. Most people can't. It takes a long time to get there. In fact, for most sales teams, I always recommend people get sit-stand desks, right? They sit when they're doing the boring note-taking work, all that stuff, follow-up, that sort of thing. But when they're on the phone with people, put that thing in a stand mode, get your chest puffed up, get the energy moving, get your blood pumping, get locked in, right? So my first tip is going to be stand up, right? Stand up. Puff your chest out, put yourself in a power pose, stance your legs out, spread your shoulders, right? Get yourself ready to go like you're about to like square up with somebody. Imagine Conor McGregor's about to come into the room and square up with you. He's going to look you in the eye, and you've got to seem like you know what you're doing enough to fight him. Even if you don't, you got to pretend like you do. Fake it till you make it. So that's the first tip, stand up, because that body language is so important. Body language and facial expression are huge parts of nonverbal communication, right? You can tell what somebody's thinking and feeling just by the way their face looks and their body is positioned. And so over the phone, obviously they can't see that. So you even have to exacerbate it more than you would in a normal conversation. And when you do that, it comes across so strong, people will love you for it, I promise. So now let's go to the second part, right? So now that we're standing up, we've got our chest puffed out, we're ready, right? Let's talk about the facial expression. There's a saying I love to say, smiling and dialing. So important. If you're dialing, you must be smiling. Look at that. Show your teeth. Show the pearly whites. Even if you think you have an ugly smile, I don't care. I think I have an ugly smile, but I'm still going to do it anyways, right? A, right? Because I'm a confident motherfucker. I don't care what anybody thinks about me. Second, because I know it's going to make me sound enthusiastic. That's the two things right there. Smile. Slap it across your face. If the person gives you some lower energy, you can bring it down. But here's the thing. You want to set the energy of the call. You want to come in being enthusiastic. You don't want to guess that this person's boring, sullen, sad, right? You want to mirror somebody in the call, but you don't know how to mirror them until you've conversated with them for at least a little bit. So always open high energy. Do that. Smile. Facial expressions will carry you a long way, right? Third tip that I've got for you guys, speak in presumptions, not in questions. I'm going to let that sit with you guys for a moment, right? Speak in presumptions, not in questions. That's huge. You're not asking people questions. An immediate example of this is if I'm calling John, I'm not going to say, hey, is this John? Hey, John? Am I speaking with John? All of those are bad examples. Examples of what not to do. The reason being is it immediately tells John that I'm not supposed to be talking to him. I don't know if I have the right person. He has no trust in me, right? My trust is immediately gone. He's put on edge. He doesn't know if I'm a debt collector. He doesn't know if I'm his bank. He doesn't know if I'm a fraudster. He doesn't know who I am. So you're not going to trust me. And guess what? I want these people to trust me. I want these people to trust me to, like, another degree, the highest degree that they possibly can. So that's the thing right there, right? Thank you, Mr. John. Just drop the link in REI Revolution. Drop the link to REI Revolution here, man. I want to get people in there. What was I talking about here? The positioning, yes. So in this call, a lot of people, they tend to think that they're customer service for all their calls. They think they're customer service. You guys want to know the real truth? You're not in customer service, guys. If you wanted to be in customer service, you can go join the call center down the street and start making dials for Amazon, right? Pick up the phone. Yes, sir. No, sir. Oh, I'm so sorry that happened to you, sir. Guess what? There's a right time and place for that. Sales is not it. Sales is not it. You've got to prove to the other person why you're right, why you're the best option. You're not trying to prove to them why they're safe and comfortable. It's a huge mindset difference. When you're picking up the phone, it's their privilege, not yours. You are coming to them with an offer. They can choose to accept or deny it. It's your goal to get them to accept it. But in this instance, you're the one who's providing value to them. They're not providing value to you. Sure, they have a house, but guess what? You don't need to buy it. They need an offer. Who's providing more value? Who's the one in control of that conversation? You are. That's why you need to speak in presumptions. So for my open, I'm not saying, hey, is this John? I'm saying, hey, John. John, what's up, man? John, how you doing today? Something like that, right? High energy. I'm keeping it up here. fast pace. I'm getting that intro in, and I'm saying it as a statement, a presumption, right? I know I'm talking to John. One time I called this guy. His name's Larry. Lives in Colorado. He picked up the phone, and I said, Larry, what's up? And he thought I was his long-lost friend. Seriously. He thought I was one of his friends that he hadn't talked to in a long time. I don't remember who he called me. He was like, Marcus, is that you? No, I wasn't Marcus. I'm like, oh, man, no, I wish I was cool as Marcus. I wasn't Marcus, but guess what? Immediate rapport right there. I'm like, Marcus sounds like he's a pretty cool guy, man. Yeah, Marcus is pretty cool. You sound a lot like him. Haven't heard from Marcus in a while, right? Guess what? I'm talking to him, having a conversation, building rapport. That guy's loving me now. Just because of that. Just because I opened as a statement. But if I picked it up and I was like, is this Larry? He doesn't think I'm Marcus, man. He thinks I'm, I don't know, some scammer maybe? Who knows? People are cautious nowadays. So many phone calls from scammers. So speak in presumptions, right? Another thing. Actually, I'll get to that in a little bit. So speaking in presumptions. Super important, right? Super important. The next thing that I have for you guys is stop over-explaining yourself. In these conversations, and this is throughout the entire conversation, not just the open, but words are currency. Everything that you say is currency. It's money. Think of it like a bank account. You have a bank account for the entire call, $1,000. Every word you say, that's $10 gone. Every word you say, that's another $10 gone. If you are over-explaining yourself and talking too much, people will lose interest. People don't care what you have to say. They want to talk. They want you to care what they have to say. And it's using that to your advantage is how you're going to further yourself in these calls. So a lot of these calls, I hear people picking up the phone and they're saying stuff like, hey man, my name's John. I'm with Lumber Liquidators, Home Buyers, and I was actually calling because, I'm just moved into the area, and I'm a local investor, and we're just looking for some houses to buy. I pulled a list, and your number came up, and so, I figured I might as well give you a call, and I'll see if you're interested in getting an offer on your home. Is that the case? Holy hell. This guy doesn't even know what just hit him. He doesn't remember how you started that. He doesn't know how you ended that. He just heard that words, that slur of words come to him. He has no clue what just hit him. It doesn't build rapport. It doesn't build respect. It doesn't sound like you know what you're talking about, right? Get to the point as soon as possible. That whole thing right there could be cut down to, like, let's say hey, John, who's this? My name's Liam. We've never spoken before. I'm a local home buyer. You filled out my website. You said you wanted an offer. Is that still the case? Look at that. I cut down the number of words in that drastically. I mean, so significantly. Guess what? I'm saving a bunch of money right there. My bank account is getting fat. I'm staying stacked up. That's the goal. That's the goal. The less words, the better. The less words, the better. One of my favorite sayings is that telling isn't selling, and that's true. Telling isn't selling. People think when they're opening, they're going to be just like, Jordan Belfort and Wolf of Wall Street, right? Where he's going to come in and say, listen, I just got this opportunity across my desk that I shouldn't even be telling you about, guys. This patent pending government approval, Aerotine Technologies. I mean, this is just some stuff that's about to blow up. And right now, I'm going to tell you, right? That doesn't work. That doesn't actually work. People can smell that from a mile away. People can smell that from 10 miles away, right? They're going to get scared off by that. People want to be asked questions. They want to talk about themselves, right? That's a huge difference. And so there's two things that go into that. A, the way I just sounded right there, you guys don't sound like that. When you guys are pitching, like, oh man, we're going to cover closing costs, commissions, all that stuff, you guys don't sound like that. You guys aren't like, man, listen, I'm not supposed to do this, right? You guys are like, we just cover closing costs, commissions. It's just words that you guys are saying. You don't even know if that's something this person's interested in. You're just throwing it out as a hook. So that's one thing, right? Second is that they don't want to hear that. They want to talk about themselves. And the thing is that if you ask the right questions, this person will tell you all about their pain. They will tell you all about their pain. So remember, telling isn't selling. Keep it short, keep it sweet, keep it concise, and your open is going to be much stronger, right? So just to reiterate what we went through, right? First, stand up. Puff your chest out. Your body language is used. Get yourself in a power pose. In fact, before you hop on the phones, what I would do is like shadow box, right? I don't know how to box. If I got in a boxing match, I would get hit hard. I might hit, I'll hit somebody hard too, but It's a 50-50 on who's winning. Take it to the ground. I know wrestling, jiu-jitsu. Maybe I'll have a better chance, right? But other than that, right? I mean, I'm going to get the blood pumping. I'm going to do push-ups. I'm going to do some squats. I might do, some burpees, whatever, right? Either way, I want to get the blood pumping. I want to get fired up, right? So I'm going to be standing up, puffing my chest out. I'm going to be the most confident guy alive, right? Second, I'm going to be smiling. My facial expression is super important, right? I want to be a little bit smug. I want to be a little bit cocky getting out of these phones, right? I want these people I want to come into the position of that these people get to talk to me. I don't get to talk to these people. These people get to talk to me. They're that lucky. Sounds a little bit conceited, sure, but it improves your confidence. It'll improve your tonality massively, right? Third, speak in presumptions, not in questions. Everything is statements. The less questions, the better. You're going to sound like you know what you're doing. It's going to drive the call. It's not going to give these people an opportunity to hang up on you. Nobody likes to be given a survey, right? How many times have you been called by somebody who said, hey, can I take you through a 20-minute survey? They're like, no, right? Horrible offer. You don't ask, you just do. Next, stop over-explaining yourself. Don't talk. Seriously, the less you talk, the better. If you can put yourself in a position of power right away in this call and ask a fantastic question and let this person just drive through the call, right? The goal is an 80-20 rule. You want them to be doing 80% of the talking. You only do 20%. And those 20% just questions, right? Like 15% questions, 5% like selling. Now, step 5. This is one of my favorites. This is one of my favorites, and I want you guys to get this to hit home. Stop sounding so damn formal. I'm serious, you guys. Stop sounding so damn formal. This is not customer service. This is sales. You're a closer. You're a high-level rep. You're not on the base floor where you've got to grovel to your boss and all that stuff. Most of you guys are business owners, right? So what are you there being customer service for? These people get to talk to you. They should be on their knees begging you for the chance to get an offer. Put yourself in that mindset. That's the mindset that you need to be in. If you come in and you're like, yes, ma'am, no, sir, guess what you have right there? Commission breath. You sound fucking desperate. How many of you guys have been talking to somebody of the other gender that you're into, and they are desperate? It's not attractive, right? I didn't always know how to talk to girls, right? I've got a lovely girlfriend now. It's just fantastic. But if I were desperate and trying to talk to her, do you think I would be in that position? Absolutely not. I've got some friends who just aren't that great at talking to girls. And there was this one, right? Cute girl. Friend was into her. She seemed to be into him. He got overly desperate, right? He was trying to talk to her so much. He was responding right away. There was no stick with the carrot. You got to dangle stuff out, right? You've got to dangle stuff out. So you sound desperate when you sound formal. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. No, ma'am. All this, right? And when you sound like you're reading... Another thing that leads to you guys sounding formal is you guys are using scripts. And I guess here's another thing too. Throw away your damn script. Seriously. The script is only to be used as a very initial basic crutch, right? A very initial basic crutch. The second that you have the checkpoints down, because that's all a script is. It's just a linear pathway to get through a set of checkpoints. As long as you know those checkpoints, do away with the script. I don't care if you fuck up 5, 10, 15, 20, 100 calls. You're building muscle memory at that point, and then by that 100th call, guess what? You're going to know how to get through those. Doesn't matter how many you mess up. You need to learn how to do it on your own, how to fail on your own, and not just sit in a script. Like, think of a script as a marble track, right? It's very, very direct, very specific. You put the marble in the track, it goes one way, one speed at every single point. You can put 15 marbles in that over and over and over again. They're all going to be at the exact same spot at the exact same time. But guess what happens when the seller comes and is a piss baby and kicks your marble track? Your marbles get knocked out. And they don't just land nicely back where they were. That's what happens inside of if you're using a script too heavily. You sound robotic, you sound formal, all that stuff, right? So that's another thing. Stop sounding formal, be informal, right? I'm going to be like, yo, what's up? Hey, man, how are you doing? What's up? All that stuff, right? Informal language. If the seller swears, you swear. Seriously, right? If the seller's religious, you're religious. If the seller's atheist and hates God, you're atheist and hates God. The seller's gay, you're gay. Doesn't matter, right? Quit being formal. Quit having this, stereotype of who you are. You are them. match them, right? And now that's not to say though that you can't always be, that you never be formal, right? If you're talking like one of my calls, this guy was a professor for 25 years. He had a very proper way of speaking, an English teacher. I am going to be the most relatable to him as possible. I am going to be exceptionally formal. That guy, I'm not going to be like, fuck, dude, that sucks, right? I'm going to be stupidly formal. Stupidly formal with somebody like that who's also stupidly formal back to me, okay? Mirror and match. But I'm saying don't be formal with somebody who isn't formal. That's a better way to put it, all right? Let's guess. When you put all those together, right, you stand up, you puff your chest out. You have a fantastic facial expression. You speak in presumptions, not in questions. You stop being formal. There's no other one. And you quit over explaining yourself. Your open is going to be charismatic. Then it's just about practice, practice, practice. Seriously. This is muscle memory. You get better and better and better at it. And here's the thing though too, right? I know a lot of you guys are over the phone, but here's some tips for in-person too, right? Eye contact. So important. Eye contact is so important. People feel a much deeper connection to you the second you give them significant eye contact. You want them to be looking away, right? You want them to feel uncomfortable because you guys are looking in the eyes for so long, right? You want them to develop a little crush on you, right? That's what you want to do when you're in person, right? You shake their hand, you look them in the eye, and you ask them questions, right? You want them to know that you're listening, and the way that they know you're listening is because you're looking them in the eye. So that's another thing right there. Everybody, hang on. I gotta, let's see. You guys all got questions. Hang on. Back with the glasses, Icy, you know it. I can't read the chat with them on, though, right? I look cool. I feel cool. Can't read shit. Liam, you're a goat. Thank you. Are Trevor and Liam related? I don't know who Trevor is. Sounds cool, though. Shout to, yes, Mr. John, what's up? Go for no, says Jose. Right you are, bro. They look alike, do we? Normal REI Revolution. Glad to see you guys in. Stare at a dog and they do. There we go. I like that. Boom. All right. Glasses back on. So tonight, guys, now that we've got these things out of the way, what we're going to do next is we're going to bring Mr. Jonathan James Johnson here, right? The GOAT. The leader of REI Revolution, and we're going to listen to his open. We're going to do some role play. We're going to give him some critical feedback, and you guys in the chat are also going to give him some critical feedback. I mean, we want this guy to embarrass himself. I can see him back there. He's copying the glasses looks. He thinks he's cool right now. Now we got to put him in his place, right? And what we're going to do is we're going to take the clay of his mind, guys. The clay of his mind. This is how serious we're getting. And we're going to mold it into the most charismatic, the most charming, dashing, closer, buy opener ever that you guys have ever seen. We're going to do it in like 30 minutes. In 30 minutes, we're going to do that. But anyways, without any further ado, I'm going to welcome on Mr. John Johnson into here. What's up, bro? How are you doing?
Doing great, man. How you doing?
I'm getting ready to crush it tonight, dude. I made a bunch of calls today, got a bunch of deals locked up. I'm feeling pretty hot.
Awesome. Glad to hear it, man. Thanks for having me on the show.
Dude, absolutely. So you guys, I put out a message like about an hour ago now. And I was like, hey, I want somebody to come on that we can teach how to open. And literally within seconds, Mr. John sent me a message like, yo, get me on there. I'm trying to get right. So let's do it. I'm like, dude, nobody better than you. So let's get it rocking.
Awesome, man.
So where would you say your opens are right now? In terms of like on the call, how do you feel doing them?
I feel confident, man. Everybody that I've talked to that's motivated, I've been able to lock up. I haven't been able to close on 2 or 3 of them, and that's just because the price wasn't there and they're not willing to negotiate. But I'm confident in myself, dude. Like, I really don't find myself in a position where I'm like lacking on the phone. So this is gonna be fun, man. I'm always down for a challenge.
Guys, I want to know if it's just me or if it is you guys as well. I'm getting a little bit of lag from John. I want to know if that's just me, because if it's just me, I can deal with it. But if it's everybody, I'd like a fix, because I want John to be able to listen back on this and hopefully have some takeaways. And if it's super choppy, it's anybody in the comments, let me know, please. Please. I'm begging you.
Let's see, man.
They said it's just me. They said it's just me.
Just you? All right.
Cool. That's awesome. That's fine. Cool. As long as everybody else has it fun. So, here's what we're going to do. We're going to first do just some role play, just for the open. I'm going to pretend to be a buyer. You're going to pretend to be a seller. And we're just going to have a regular conversation. And then as soon as the open is done, then we're going to go back. We're going to break it down, things to improve on. And we're just going to do it like you're a sculpture that's almost complete right now, right? Like you are coming in, but we're just going to get the fine details in.
Sounds good, man. So typically, I'm doing most of my marketing outbound, or someone brings me a lead, and then I just kind of go through 4 pillars, take it from there. So just to kind of give everybody a premise on how I usually structure my calls, so they're not thinking, they look exactly like I'm looking at an inbound pay-per-click and reaching out to those people.
Love it. All right, let's run it then. Just give me a ring whenever you're ready. And I've got a 3-bed, 2-bath in Podunksville, Iowa, and figure out the rest from there.
Awesome. Ring.
Hello.
Hey, Liam, this is John Johnson. How you doing today, man?
Oh, I'm doing well. Who is this?
This is John Johnson. Listen, man, I want to give you a call because a partner of mine spoke to you about that property you've got there in Iowa. And I just wanted to reach out and see if I'm going to be able to help you out there.
Help me out how? I don't know what you mean.
Got you. Yeah, man. He said that you were interested in selling it. And so I wanted to reach out and see maybe if I can get you an offer.
Sure, yeah. What's your offer?
Well, before I can give you an offer, I would like to ask you a couple more questions about the property just so that I can get an idea of what type of shape it's in.
Cool. All right, and pause, guys, and pause. So first off, let's talk about what John did so fantastic. The energy was there. He sounded excited to talk to me. He was excited to talk to me. I could feel the excitement from over here. Man was ready to chat. That's what we need. Now, the thing that he needs to work on, he's speaking in the past tense. I wanted to talk to you. I was reaching out. It's a very minute difference, but you can feel the impact, right? Instead of I wanted to reach out, I am reaching out. I am reaching out. I am calling, right? Just I was calling you. I'm calling because. And then another thing is using an actual because transition. That's another small thing, right? Harvard did a study where they metered the usage of like one of those big 10-gallon water buckets at an office where people are going to refill their cups. And what they did was an experiment. First, if you just tried to cut in line without saying anything, right, you got rejected like 90% of the time. People would call you out, right? Then what they did is they had you just come and ask, right? Hey, do you mind if I cut in line? Now guess what? Surprisingly, the numbers went up, right? People let you cut, I guess unsurprisingly, right? Just by asking, the numbers went up. People let you cut more and more. But there was a certain threshold where people would be like, no. Then they would have you ask to cut and give a reason, right? Hey man, can I cut? My dog's sick. It didn't even have to be related to anything going on. Hey man, can I cut? I'm running late. And when you gave them that extra reason, people would let you cut even more. But where they made the biggest difference is where they said, hey man, can I cut because my dog is sick? Just adding in that word because and using that because as a transition massively, they I don't even think the researchers understood quite why exactly, but just adding in the because into the transition made people want to let you cut at an even higher rate than if you didn't. So that's another small thing. But overall, I rate your open off that first one a solid 8 out of 10. Solid 8 out of 10. You came with a lot more energy than a lot more people do. So that's fantastic. What we're going to do is we're going to do one more open. And because I think your opens are actually at a spot where they don't need to be critiqued that much further, I think if we just change you from past tense to present tense and we give you that because transition, then from there it's just about repetitions. Then the next thing, I think we're just going to go a little bit deeper into a call and we can break down some higher level stuff. And we can try and figure out where your weak spots are in terms of looking at asking questions in a good way, maybe labeling things as questions when you shouldn't, reading between the lines of what I'm saying, some higher level stuff, because I think just based upon that open, that's the spot you're at.
Awesome, man. I appreciate the feedback.
Sweet. All right, you ready again?
Yeah, man.
All right, do it up.
Ring.
Hello.
Hey, Liam, this is John Johnson. How you doing today?
Doing all right. Who is this?
Yeah, man, this is John Johnson. I'm calling you because you spoke to a partner of mine about selling this property you've got over here on 123 Main Street.
Oh, yeah. What about it?
Yeah, I'm reaching out because I wanted to see if I could be of service to you in getting you an offer on your property.
Oh, okay. Well, what do you got?
So before I can get you that offer, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions about the property just so that I can get an idea of what type of shape it's in. Is now a good time?
I mean, I got some gardening to get to. I'm outside right now. It's a better time. Whatever. I guess we can do it now. How long will this
Awesome.
take?
Shouldn't take more than 5 minutes. I'll be brief.
Oh, okay. That's all right. I can get back to it.
Awesome. So what kind of shape is the property in, man?
I guess. I mean, what do you need to know? What are the important parts?
Well, first off, why do you want to sell it?
I mean, do you really need to know that? I guess. I mean, I don't know if that's really that relevant. I want to get money.
I hear you. Besides price, why do you think you might consider selling the property?
Yeah, I guess, I mean, for the property, it's pretty good shape. It's a little bit cosmetic repairs. I mean, we had tenants in there for quite some time. They were good tenants, but just as you know, I mean, we weren't in it, and the tenants weren't, treating it like their own house per se, where they're keeping on top of all repairs. It's got some scuff marks in the floors and the floorboards, and probably some nail holes in the walls. And I mean, if you really wanted to, you can do some renovating, but it's certainly not necessary to get the market rents and all that stuff. So yeah, I'd say that's where it is. I mean, it's a rent-ready house, and just looking to cash out. Got a lot of equity in it, and figure I can roll it into a different sort of deal.
I hear you. Is it currently vacant or occupied?
Lease is running out end of July, so they got about 24 more days left on that.
Gotcha. Have they been good tenants? Do they want to renew?
What was that?
Have they been good tenants? Do they want to renew?
They have been good tenants. I haven't. No, they're not planning on renewing. Their income is just bumped significantly since they started renting to them, which is fantastic for them. And they're planning on going and buying a house, so they're going to. I think they're doing some sort of live-in situation with their parents while they get their permanent housing sorted. They're going to buy, but that's not going to be a problem to get them out. All right, and pause. Let's pause there because I've got some feedback.
All right, yeah.
Okay, so first off, the open was fantastic again, but the second we got clear of that open, right, you cleared the gates for that, you kind of fell into phone voice, right? Are you familiar with what phone voice is?
Yeah, man.
Phone voice, it's a little bit of a one-note song, right? And so your questions, I wouldn't say they sounded scripted, but they did sound like they came from your armory, right? You have these questions on lock. And I think the one thing for you, because your tonality was fantastic, but the thing that made it sound not quite as enticing was the cadence, your speed. When I ask questions, I want to change the cadence of them. So if I'm going to ask you, tell me a little bit about the property, what I'm going to do is if the x-axis, or this is the y-axis, if my y-axis is my speed and my x-axis is my pitch, I want what I'm saying to be wow, like all over the place, right? So I'm going to be saying it like, hey man, you know what, could you just tell me a little bit about the property, right? So you see that I kind of sped up and slowed down, right? I got you hooked and I then brought you in, right? You can do it the exact opposite, like, hey man, could you just tell me like a little bit about the property? You can do it either way, right? You can go slow, fast, but add those changes in and then mix in some pitch high to low, and it's going to make every question you ask that much more enticing, and people are going to be listening to exactly what you have to say. Now, I think the most interesting point of this call for everybody to break down here was the transition into asking for motivation, right? Motivation is a seller's most difficult and sensitive subject. It's pain, right? It's always pain. There's some pain, no matter what it is. And if you just come and like shine a giant flashlight on it, like, well, we got them, right? You're the cops bursting in the door. Dude, people are all of a sudden like, there's stuff in their drugs in their bag. They're like, fuck this. Like, they're getting out of there. So what you've got to do is you've got to infiltrate slowly, right? You got to pretend to be one of them. Just crack the door open a little bit, slip your way in. Hey, man, we're cool. And then you can slyly ask for it. Maybe, ask like, hey, can I take a hit, right? And guess what? They're going to give you, right? You got all the evidence you need right there. It's a little bit of a difference. So when you just came and asked, like, first off, why are you looking to sell? That, for me, is what I like to do as, like, a last resort, is if I can't get them to give up the motivation to me in any way. So as far as condition, right, sometimes in the open, people will say something like, you looking to sell, right? I mean, if I get the right number, then right there, the next thing I'll say is, what's the right number, right? It'll put the ball right in their court. We're talking about price. Love that, right? But if there's not some opportunity like that, or somebody doesn't just open right away with another one of those things, condition is always going to be the easiest segue. Always. 10 times out of 10. And so you did the right thing by segueing into condition first. I would have stuck in that vein, right? You ask about condition. He's like, can you re-clarify the question? What do you want to know? Do what he asks. Just re-clarify it. Ask it in a little bit different way. It's, for me, I'd be like, if I want to come in and rent the place out, what do I need to fix up? Something like that there. And so when I ask that question, then he's going to start going into it, and he's going to start giving away little bits of information that he shouldn't be saying. Remember, guys, words are currency. Every word that he's saying, he's giving me $10. $10. Sometimes, right, he's not paying attention to the money he's counting. He gives me a 20, maybe even a 50, sometimes 100, right? And the thing is, then you've got to take that, cash that in immediately. Or you can keep it in your pocket, and remember, you got to cash it back in as soon as you can, right? Because you don't want them to realize and redact that, right? Take it back. Like, oh, shoot, right, I need my change back. So when people are talking about condition, they'll usually give you a little bit of a string to move into a different part of the call, such as the motivation, right? So when I'm talking about the condition, right, you'll see when I did talk about condition, I brought up tenants and all that stuff. Or I guess in that situation, I would have done that probably also if you hadn't also, or I'm wording this weird, but I would have also done that even if you didn't bring up like the why you're looking to sell, that stuff beforehand. And then there wouldn't have been that uncomfortable tension of you asking me why I'm trying to sell, and I'm like, it's none of your fucking business. Then, right, he brought it up, so guess what? Now that he brought it up, it's free game, right? Did you follow like the Johnny Depp trial at all?
No, man.
No? Okay. So for those of you guys who did follow or didn't follow, there's this one rule where if there's something that's not 100% relevant to the case, you can't just bring it in. Like, so for example, Johnny had an ex-girlfriend as a witness, or who they wanted to bring as a witness, and they weren't allowed to because the court deemed it wasn't reliable enough. But Amber Heard, in her defense, she brought up this ex-girlfriend, and now guess what? Because Amber brought it up, it was free game for Johnny and his team to bring her on as a witness. Same thing can happen with with like motivation. When people bring up motivation on their own, it's a super easy segue. So then, right, the second that they say something about the tenants or whatever in the situation, that's where I can dig into that, like, oh man, tenants, they good tenants? I mean, I talk to a lot of people that had nightmare tenants, and so that's why they're looking to get out. Is that you? Something like that, right? Where you can do, that's called a label there, where I'm like making a random guess, whether it's right or wrong, and just basing it off of, total conjecture. And they're either going to confirm or deny it, and I'm going to get more information. And so that's how I like to get into motivation, is like in a really sly sort of way rather than just asking it up front. But other than that, right, the things that I think you're doing fantastic are just the foundational items, right, which is going to be the tonality, the energy, you're asking open-ended questions. Those are the things that as long as you're doing those, man, dude, the foundation's set for the next stuff. You want to roll into another one?
Yeah, man.
Sweet. All right. Give me a ring whenever.
So I'm gonna actually switch it up.
Okay.
I'm gonna not do, because keep it $150, man. Like, of course, like before I hopped on here, I was listening to what you had to say, and then I try to kind of implement it.
Uh-huh.
And then this call, I'm just gonna call you like I would really call like anyone.
Cool. Let's do it then. Let's do it. I like it. That's a fantastic
Awesome.
plan.
Ring, ring.
Hello.
Hey, what's up, Liam?
What's up? Who's this?
This is John Johnson. How you doing today?
I'm doing pretty well today, man. Do I know you? Can I help?
Yeah, man. You spoke with a partner of mine about selling this property you've got over here on 123 Main Street.
Yeah, I did. Man, that was a little while ago. Yeah, what's up?
Yeah, I'm just following up with you today to see if I can help you out.
Cool. I guess you might be able to. What do you got for me?
Awesome. Well, I mean, the first question that I got for you is why were you interested in selling to begin with?
Just wanted to get my equity out, to be quite honest, I've cashed out of all my single families. This is the last one I've got. The reason I didn't sell it before was just I had tenants in there, and I sold the rest of them as a package deal. And the tenants for this one were these guys were my first tenants. They were really fantastic to me. And the other guys, they were planning on vacating those leases and then upping the rents. And I just figured, hey, you know what? I'll let these guys close out the rest. Market's still strong, and I've still got a lot of equity in it. And so I was just doing them a favor. And yeah, they're moving out end of the month. And so, yeah, now's kind of a perfect time to swoop back in.
Gotcha. What do you plan to do with the money?
Buy a yacht.
Buy a yacht?
I'm just kidding, man. No, I've got a couple. I'm moving into multifamily and commercial deals. So, I mean, if you got any of those on the horizon, then love to talk about those. But, yeah, just on to bigger and better things. The management of single family is just not what I want to deal with.
I hear you. Well, let me see if I can help you take this problem off your shoulders. I mean, when was the last time you saw the property?
Oh, I mean, we got an appraisal on it just last month. So went in, just saw it very recently.
What did it come back appraised at?
$274. I mean, I'm planning to do a cash sale. I want to do a quick close. And listen, man, I know the game. Listen, I'll take a discount for speed and convenience. I know how that all goes. Came back at $274, and I guess I'd like to get as close to that as possible, but I understand, you guys can't offer market value.
Well, let me see what I can do for you. I mean, what in terms of work, what does it need?
I mean, honestly, it's rent ready. You could put somebody in there right now. We haven't been in, we'd rather keep a good tenant in there rather than, gouge them out for rent every single year in an increase. So it probably stands to be increased $200 to $300 as is in its current condition. And this was one of the things we were looking at, was that we could come in and renovate the whole thing. But I was like, why would I do that? It's like, in terms of renovation, I mean, it's a little bit dated. It's not fantastic on the inside. It's not horrible though, right?
Gotcha.
It's got the LVP, everything's functional, all the plumbing, all the, big ticket items are taken care of, those are maintained. But if you really wanted to make it nice, could paint the bathrooms black and put in some new hardware, and I don't know. I mean, I suppose you could replace the cabinetry or all that sort of stuff. I mean, to each their own. It depends on what the end goal is, but yeah.
I hear you. All right. I mean, assuming we can come to an agreement on the price, how quickly do you think you might be looking to sell?
Well, I mean, the tenants move out end of the month, and I suppose as soon after that as possible, I would love to have this thing off my hands. I don't want to have to deal with that liability for any longer than I need to.
Gotcha. I mean, listen, man, where do you think we've got to be at in terms of price to be able to move forward?
Oh, man, I guess I was hoping you could give me a price first. I mean, want to have a little bit of fun with you.
I hear you. Well, I'll tell you what, man, I'm not one for games. So if you've got an idea of how much you might want for it, I can see if I can get that for you.
All right, man. I'm thinking that if we can get it close to probably $245 to $255 in that ballpark, it's good enough for me.
$245? I'm seeing comps in the area. I mean, a flip just got flipped for like 250.
Remember, I told you I just got this appraised, man. I thought you said you didn't want to play games.
Don't play games, man. 245. I think for cash, I'd be able to pick it up for 230.
Cash 230 and then an extra 15 on top. You've got yourself a deal, man. Listen, I mean, we got this thing appraised in current condition, by the way, boss. 275.
I hear you.
275 current condition.
I'll tell you what, man. I'll meet you in the middle there at 235, and we can put pen to paper today. How about I send you over the wire right after we finish this phone call?
Listen, man, I'm trying to move fast, but I don't think I need to take that big of a discount, to be quite honest, because we're looking at 245, man. 245 is just the number to beat right now. I mean, I haven't been doing that much marketing on the thing, but man,
I hear you. You got any other offers?
I haven't even reached out to anybody. You guys reached out to me first, so you guys are first on the ball. I mean, I feel like I'm giving away as a fire sale here. 245. I'll give you guys the opportunity of a lifetime, brother. I mean, with the rents that you could either, listen, man, you can put the 30 into renovation, right? Pick it up at 245, put 30 into renovation, brings you up to 275 out of pocket, which is its current value, by the way. Thing will appraise for probably easily 325 at most. Rents, you can boost those things up for probably $2,300-$2,400, and you've almost got yourself a one cap, which in this area, for this type of property, man, I mean, that's hot.
I hear you.
And you got 60,000 appreciation off the bat. You got equity built in. Recoup those costs almost immediately too.
Well, let me go on ahead and review the offer with my team. I'm going to send this to the guy that underwrites the deals, and then let me give you a call back. When's a good time for me to follow up with you?
Honestly, anytime, man. I mean, I'm an investor. I work 24/7. You know how it is. So this is my cell. You can give me a call whenever. What was your name again?
John Johnson.
Awesome.
Pleasure to meet you, Liam.
Cool, man. Yeah, I'll be in touch. I'll be looking forward to it. I'll save your name in here.
Thank you.
Sweet. Talk soon.
Peace.
Round of applause, everybody. Give Mr. John a fantastic round of applause. Look at that.
Thank you, sir.
That was brilliant. So, some of the notes that I had. First off, I like the pressure. I like the pressure, man. A lot of people are afraid to put that on. A lot of people are afraid to put that on. They are. They seriously are. So I'm glad that you added that in. It shows that you're bold, you're not afraid, and guess what? You know, fortune favors the bold or the brave. Whatever that saying is, right? Crypto.com. But just, yeah, crypto. Maybe that hasn't been the best reference. Crypto's kind of recently, but your skills up. So the feedback for that, what I think would step you up to the next level would be your transitional phrases. Your transitional phrases right now, they are very simple, right? Awesome. Okay, great. Sounds good, right? You're acknowledging what they're saying, so you're not just steamrolling to the next point, which is what some people do, and it works their deficit. So you're at least acknowledging what's being said. But the unfortunate side of things is that you're not getting awfully in depth. And so this is going to be the difference between somebody who's good and somebody who's great on the phone. When somebody says something to me about like the condition of the property, right? A specific example from the call is I said something like, you know, and honestly, that's just not something that I really want to deal with anymore, right? And he said, okay, sounds good. What I would transition to is instead of saying, okay, sounds good, I would do what's called a mirror. So this isn't mirroring where you're going to be doing like a mirror, like a match, like the whole personality, tonality, all that stuff. This is just a single usage phrase where you're going to repeat the last couple of words that the person said. This is taken from the book called Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss. Fantastic book, fantastic author. The guy was the lead FBI hostage negotiator for a long time. So dude knows how to negotiate his ass off. And so what you do is, when they say, I don't want to deal with that anymore, what you do is you just repeat those last few words, downward inflection. So I'd say like, you don't want to deal with that anymore. Just like that. You don't want to deal with that anymore. Simple. And guess what? You just shut up, and then the other person, yeah, you're right, they're going to get deep into it. Yeah, I mean, shit, all this stuff going on, and, the market, and I mean, just all these different tenants, different houses. I got to get my mechanics. I have a different one for, all it, whatever, all my pain points, right? Going to get so deep into that. Another phrase I like to use is like peel the onion, right? An onion is not just one layer. You peel off the first layer, there's another one, and another one, and another one. So you can get 3, 4, 5 layers deep on any topic that we're talking about. And so those transitional phrases can help you do that. And let's say there's nothing of substance for you to talk about in the last thing, right? There's no mirror. There's nothing you want to dig into deeper. On those transitions, I would still show that you're acknowledging a little bit deeper by saying something like, yeah, I'll tell a story. Usually tell a story, you say something of importance there where I'm just going to be relatable and prove to them that I was listening. So if I'm talking about my daughter or whatever, it's like, man, dude, that's so cool to hear. I was working with Marcus last week, and he also had a young daughter. It was a pain to get her out of the house for showings, which is why he ended up working with us. But thank you for sharing that story, man. And so for me, all I need to know really about is the condition, right? So you see, I touch what he's saying. I tell a story. I build some relatability. It's conversational. It's back and forth. It's not just me going wham, 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 right? And that softens the load. That way, when I load my next question up and fire it, he's been desensitized from that first one and doesn't feel like he's just getting grilled. So I would say that will step you up to the next level. The other thing that I would touch on is personality types. The personality type of the person you're talking to is going to determine what the outcome of the call is going to be really, really often, right? So what I use this is what the Sandler sales system uses. It's called DISC, D-I-S-C. High D. Let me share my screen, actually. I'll show you guys. I'll show you guys this because this is just fantastic. All right. I take my glasses off so I can actually read this. Right. Can we just show you the breakdown? Where's the breakdown? Okay. Okay, so here we go. The DISC model, it's an acronym. D is dominance, I is influence, S is steadiness, and C is conscientiousness. People with D personalities, they tend to be confident and place an emphasis on accomplishing bottom line results, right? Get it done at all costs. People with I personalities, they tend to be more open and place an emphasis on relationships and influencing or persuading others, right? A lot of salesmen, they're going to be a mixture of DIs, right? People with S, these people are very dependable and they place emphasis on cooperation and sincerity, right? These tend to be people who are fantastic employees, right? They stay with you for a long time. If you treat them right, they'll treat you right. They're loyal, those sort of stuff. You want to have these people as friends too. And people with C personalities, they tend to place emphasis on quality, accuracy, expertise, and competency. So when we break down, how would, on this Discord, I'm interested, John, how would you break down the person that you spoke to that I played on that last call as an investor?
I would say very, very much of a D. Mm-hmm. Bottom line results driven. I mean, you were very forthcoming with what exactly you wanted to accomplish. And I mean, if it wasn't exactly what you wanted, it wasn't going to be a deal.
Okay. And just by the way, everybody, no person is one of these. Each of these are on a spectrum. You can be a high D, a low D, high I, low I, all four of them. What do you think, in your mind, the second highest would be?
I would say I, because you tried to persuade a lot. You know, you referenced the appraisal, and you know, you were saying that you weren't trying to play games. And maybe even C as well. I think that came out a little bit stronger because you referenced that you were interested in a quick cash close. And so that is expertise, maybe competency, like just barely C. I don't think that was as strong. I think D and I was probably the most strong, but you know, at some point you were like, hey, you know, I know the game too. Like we're on the same level. just trying to cover all the bases here.
Cool. Okay. Fantastic breakdown, and I can understand exactly where you're coming for all of those. For this person, if I were on a call with them, I'm not just focusing on what they're saying, but also why they're saying it, right? What we know is that most people who are investors, they can't be reasoned into a close right away, right? These people do not make emotional decisions. So this person, right, knowing he's an investor, he's moving into multifamily, moving into commercial, this is somebody who's both assertive, but also accurate. I would say, personally, this person would be a high C. That would be the first one that I have. Whenever I hear investor, I think high C. These people are generally not that emotional. Now, of course, that's not the that's the rule, not the there's some saying I'm thinking of, but anyways, it's not 100% accurate. And then the other one that I would have is I, right? What I do is you can generally tell D people based upon how they respond to your initial questions. If they put up strong walls right away, if they put up a fight to what you're saying, like why are you asking that, right? They're very confrontational, or they're not afraid of confrontation. That is usually an instance of a high D. So in that specific call, I would say that you were a high D, where you're like, man, we can make a deal happen today. Let's get this done, right? That's definitely a high D right there. For that person, they kind of rolled over where they said, man, I was hoping, you'd give me a number first, all this. And you're like, yeah, I would love to play with you or, play a game, whatever, but I'd never play games. So just give me your number, right? So then I just kind of rolled over and I was like, right. I didn't let my ego get involved, with that. So in situations like that, where I'm talking a lot, usually that means that person isn't quite a high D. So this person, high C, high I. It's a CI, definitely. Likes to talk, very open, wants to be well-liked. They didn't really try to dominate the call. And so for that, what we know is selling to I's, right? These people want to be liked. These people want to be well-liked. They want to be... they're afraid of being judged. They're afraid of, people not agreeing with them, all this sort of stuff. They want to be people who have influence. And so they're generally fairly agreeable. Now, the best way to sell to these people are to be just as likable as them, right? Be as conversational as them, give them some back and forth, right? Give them the social fuel that they need, right? If they like talking to you, because, right, high I's, these are people who are extroverts, right? They love to talk to people. And so if you give them a good conversation, they're going to walk away feeling so good about themselves that they're ready to do a deal with you, right? Doesn't even matter what it comes to. But where the C comes in, right, somebody who's analytical, people who are analytical, they tend to stay away from making emotional decisions, right? Investors tend to stay away from making emotional decisions. In the selling process, you want people to make emotional decisions, not logical ones. And so you want to try and dig deep into the motivation to figure out what their emotions are. But with these people, it can be hard to dig that out. So then sometimes you do have to lean on their other personality traits of, being well-liked and wanting to have a good conversation, to get them to, have a positive emotional relationship to you to where they like what you're doing. The best way to sell to all these people, I'll break it down. People with high D, these people are not very accurate usually. They just want to get the job done. You stroke their ego, right? You tell them, man, it sounds like you know exactly what you're doing. Sounds like you've done this a bunch of times before. Man, hey, listen, I don't want to play any games with you because I can tell you know what you're doing, right? These people will fall into that trap every single time. Every single time, right? I love doing it. It's my favorite thing to do. People with I personalities, right? Being super talkative, laughing at what they say, making them feel like, you know what? Oh, I'm a really great conversationalist. As long as they feel like they're a good conversationalist and they're proud of that, great. People with S. Usually, people who are S, they're not the decision maker, right? If you talk to a husband and he's got to ask his wife for permission, or you're talking to the wife and she's got to ask her husband for permission, right? Those are usually the S's. These people, you do not push into making a decision. If you push them too hard, they will break, they will get scared, they will have a negative emotional relationship with you, and they will not talk to you again. These are the people that you have to foster, nurture, follow up with, and give them the comfort, care, and trust that they really want, right? Like, yeah, I want to give you all the time in the world to make your decision. I don't want to push you into it. I want to be able to talk with you and your husband or your wife, and I want you guys to come to what you guys think is the best decision. I want to give you guys all the information up front and leave nothing to guess. When you talk to an S like that, they will love you. They will love you, and then they'll be like, oh my God, it's this person, they weren't pushy or whatever. A lot of salesmen don't know how to not be pushy. And so a lot of people who are talking to them come in overly pushy, scare these people off from the whole situation. C, if somebody's a very, very high C, right, this person is going to be quick to call out your BS. They're going to be listening to what you say, and if you lie or you say something that's not very true, accurate, or whatever, it will bite you in the ass afterwards. It will, every single time. This person is going to come back and say, I thought you said this before, right? If you say a number, you say a thing, you're going to cover something, whatever, this person's going to fucking remember, and they will get you on it. They will get you on it. I thought you said you're going to do this. I thought you said you're going to do that. Yada, yada, yada. Usually these people are also not ones to make a deal right off the bat, unless you give them a good deal. If you give them a good deal, they will take it. But if you're trying to haggle them down and negotiate them out of a position they want to be in, then oftentimes that can cause them to lose trust, right? The way that you build trust with these people is by proving you're very competent in what you're doing and that you know exactly what you're talking about. As long as you know exactly what you're talking about, you're confident in what you're saying things as statements, not questions, you're not like getting caught over your words and like asking dumb questions that you really should know already or stuff like that, then these people will have trust in you because these people want to work with people who know what they're doing, because they want to have it a professional sort of deal getting done. And of course, everybody's on a spectrum between these. So like, for example, my highest personality is an I, my second highest personality is a C, D is my third, and S is my lowest. I'm a very, very high I. It's on a scale of 0 to 100. I'm a 98. My C, I'm a 94, and my D, I'm like an 86. And my S is like 6. So that's my personality score breakdown. It's I love to talk to people. I'm very analytical. I'm also results driven. But I'm very unsteady, right? Like I jump from shit to shit. That's my breakdown. And everybody, if you want to find this stuff, you can Google like free disc score, and you can figure out your profile very easily. So anyways, that's the spiel on that.
Awesome.
Well, dude.
Before I actually gotta hop off, you want to do a role play where you're the buyer and I'm the seller?
You know, I would love to do that. I was also about to end it off because I have a thing to be at 6:30 my time, and it's 6:42, so I'm already running behind. I'm in trouble. But we will have more calls, these guys. We have these every single night. There's going to be one tomorrow where I will be live with real, live, actual sellers. We're going to be getting leads off of, hang on, I'll show you guys here, our amazing platform called Speed to Lead. I'm bringing it up. I'm going to show you guys. I'm plugging. Look at this. Boom. We got 21,249 leads in all 50 states, even Alaska. Right? Look at this. I saw one that came in earlier. Look at this. This person is a pre-foreclosure, emergency reasons, they got financial problems, it's a vacant house, there's a death in the family. They might have just clicked, yeah, they just clicked every single box. Okay. Well, never mind. But either way, you can see everything about a lead before you buy it. And so we're going to be buying leads off of these and then locking them up. Boom. So yeah, guys, thank you everybody so much for showing up. And John, thank you for bringing your community, bringing your friendship, bringing your love with. And dude, I can tell why you're growing the way you are, bro. You're just a natural killer. You're just a natural killer.
Awesome. Thank you, man. I appreciate the time and the feedback.
Absolutely. Dude. Well, everybody, thank you so much. And we're going to roll right here because I got to get my spend out of this. We're going to go straight to an ad reel. And Mr. John, I'll catch you around soon, boss.
Are you looking to implement pay-per-click advertising into your real estate business? iSpeedTheLead.com is an a la carte PPC marketplace.